Welcome back. Now it's time to take your old wool sweaters and get a little crafty with them. Now last week, Jennifer Ackerman Haywood from the Grand Rapids Prep and CraftSanity.com showed us how to turn sweaters into hats. And today we're making mittens. And I think this is such a great idea because, as I was mentioning to you off the air, every wool sweater that I've ever bought, I've actually shrunk somehow. You know, I take it out and I'm like, this is like going to fit a child. Right. So this is a great project for people like me that have like sweaters like that.
Right. And what happens is a lot of times people shrink the sweater and then they give it to Goodwill. Yeah. And then someone like me comes along and sees a shrunken sweater on the rack and like, perfect. Yes. Oh, I love that. It saves me the process. Yeah. So basically, if you have a sweater in your closet that either has some holes in it or you shrunk it,
or you just don't wear it anymore.
Or you don't wear it anymore. What you can do is just throw it in, ignore the tag, throw it in on hot, dry it, shrink it up, and so then it will be where you can't see the stitching anymore. And that's you're folding the wool then.
So you actually want it to be shrunken when you're working on it.
Because otherwise, if you cut a sweater, it would unravel. Yeah. So you want to shrink it down so it doesn't unravel. Okay. Last week we did the hats, and this week we're coming back and doing some.
I know. I think this is great. Okay, cool.
So the first thing you do is you want to have a pattern, and you want to have a pattern that fits you. Okay. So what you do is, if you want to, I use freezer paper, so at the local grocery store. Okay. You want to trace your hand, and instead of tracing each finger, just go around your thumb.
About to make the turkey, you know?
Right, don't make a turkey. Okay. And just go around the shape of your hand, okay, and just follow your fingers. So you should end up with something that looks, trace this one so you can see with a Sharpie here. Okay. And then what you're going to do is go back, and you want to just add about a ½ inch around and round it out. So you're going to trace this, or just kind of follow that initial shape.
But so you're giving it about an inch from your fingertips and around your hand.
Well, probably about, in some areas it's going to be like an inch, but you want to have at least a ½ inch. Because when you sew this together, you want to make sure that you have some extra room, otherwise you'll never get your hand
into squeezing it in there. Right. Yeah, that's not comfortable.
So it's kind of like, and it looks a little gigantic, but you're going to be sewing around that. Right. So, okay, so once you have a pattern, you can cut it out, and I have like a child size, and then I have the adult size here. And we'll just grab one of the adult size. Okay. What I like to do is work with the bottom of the sweater, because you already have this ribbing at most sweaters at the bottom. So you just pin that in place. Your pattern here, and this freezer paper is pretty durable, so you can make a few pairs the same size. Okay. And then what you're going to do is just cut right around here. Okay. And we're going to skip ahead.
And you're going to cut all the way through the sweater.
You cut all the way through, and I turn the sweater inside out. Okay. Okay. So the right sides are facing. You cut all the way around, and over here you can leave this part together.
Oh, okay. That's already automatically together. Okay.
Exactly. For this sweater, what I've tried to do is get several pairs out of it. Yeah. I'm making these for my kids. So I got to a point where I did have to cut 2 pieces. So these are not connected, these pieces here. Okay. Okay, so then what you can do is you can add little embellishments. You can make, you know, a face. My girls wanted to make faces out of the, buttons. And you can do a little applique. This is another piece of another cashmere sweater that I cut up. Yeah, so I like to try to use every single piece of it. And then what you have is you have the right sides facing, and you just sew right along, just trace it. And it's about a ½ inch, we're actually a little bit less. Okay. About a ½ inch around the edge.
So you're going to actually sew the buttons into that part, so you're going to be turning it inside out. Okay.
Right. You're going to stitch everything down first. Right. Otherwise, you're going to just have things falling out the bottom. So yeah, I stitch right around here, and then when you turn it right side out.
Okay. And then the pattern is there.
You want your design to be on the inside. Okay. So you just turn it right side out. You're going to poke out the thumb here. And these are really fun because then the kids can kind of design their own. My daughter has a birthmark, so we added a little. She wanted to add a birthmark, so we did that.
I love that she embraces that even on her mittens.
She does, yeah. And so we have, so on one side on the top, you don't want to have the kids grabbing things, but so you put your button side on the top.
Really cute.
Yeah, so
a little heart on the side.
The possibilities are endless, and you can make, just because you trace your own hand or the hand of the person that you're going to make these for, you get to have it be custom. You know, this was a turtleneck sweater.
These are so cute.
This was a big turtleneck up here. Okay. And so what I did is I put my pattern down, so I had the 2 pieces like this, and I just worked from the top down. And then you have a nice cuff here.
Oh, very nice, very nice.
So yeah, you can use all the pieces, and then these I've been wearing because I'm just cold all the time. Even when I run outside, I wear these, and then this is the sleeves of sweaters.
That's a good one, yeah.
And I just zigzag stitched around the top, and then it gives a little ruffle.
Love that, love that.
It's not, I mean, it looks a little hokey, but it keeps me warm, so.
That's the point. When you're running, it doesn't matter what you look like anyway. Exactly. Okay, real quick, what is your column on?
Okay, my column is on Jacqueline Dreyer, and she has a couple businesses that online where she does a jewelry line and also upcycled goods. Okay. Very very talented young woman, busy mom, and she still manages to run this really successful handmade business. So she's got a lot of great advice for other stay-at-home moms that want to have a business. So.
Very cool, very cool. Well, Jennifer, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Good stuff. I really appreciate this. I actually want to try that. I think I might try that.
Yeah, you definitely
I want to try the arm warmers too.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, you can find more information on our website at WZZM13.com. Just click on those Take 5 links. Now, the best-selling book, The Lovely Bones, comes to life on the big screen this weekend. We'll give you a preview of that and the other new films you want to check out. So stick around.